Black Science Fiction. And this is actually our first event of the day. We're going to be interviewing two fascinating young men, Marcus Jackson and Greg Burnham.
Well,
right?
I wish I was Jackson. I'm a Marcus Williams.
Marcus Williams. See, look at
That
that's
sound like
Marcus
cool.
Williams. This is a special interview for me because I met these young brothers online. I actually met Marcus first when he was doing his illustrations for, what's the name of the young lady? Supernatural. And that's when I first saw his work. I had a chance to go out and meet both of them personally at Stonecrest Mall. And they were out there doing their work. I had to make sure I go out there to see them. I took my daughter with them so she could get some information and get some of the artwork and stuff. And it was right before they launched, which is probably right now, I'd say the hottest independent comic book project going on right now, Tuskegee Heirs. And I would even go as far as say it's hottest comic book concept going on right now, independent or but I'm not going to run my mouth too much. We're going to talk to them and let them talk a little bit and answer some questions. And the other reason I want to do this interview is because I had a chance to talk to these brothers personally, and I like their concept. I like what they're trying to do. It goes just beyond the artwork in the comic book. And so that's why I felt like it would be a good interview. So I just like to start off and let you guys kind of introduce yourself and give us a little bit about what you do. All right.
Marcus Williams is my name. I've been illustrating professionally for about 15, 16 years now, and gone through a whole list of projects, worked on animation, did comic books, did children's books, worked with Cartoon Network and all this good stuff back in the day when Pop-Up Girls were regular, not this new version. Working with Greg ever since 2001. So we've had a number of, all these ideas that we've come up with. A lot of them have to be put on the shelf, just due to the fact that it's either money, or resources in terms of getting with the right people to make it happen. So illustration between he and I has, kept us working and coming up with these great ideas. We actually, came to Tuskegee Heirs through a conversation with an older gentleman who was at same day it was at Stonecrest Mall. We were doing a book event, and he was just talking about his frustrations, how young people are not interested in aviation, and what we can do, and all this stuff. He liked my art, and he was just like, "This is great, man. I just wish you had something with some aviation." And I said, "Well, at the time I was doing, I don't have any of them here, Young Heroes. I was basically taking all Marvel and DC characters, all the black superheroes in between Marvel and DC comics that all are published, all are, I won't say well-known characters, but characters that are published nonetheless. And I was just making them young, like, whether they're teenagers or younger. I would just, take Black Panther and I made him look like he was 10 years old, things like that. So I told him, I'm doing Young Heroes, and I was thinking about doing a cast of young Tuskegee Airmen. And he lost it. He was like, do it, man. We can put it here. We can go this way with it, this. And me and Greg, later on that day, talked about it. And less than, a couple hours later, what are we going to call it? Tuskegee Heirs? Yeah, that sounds good. Let's go with that. So, but it was all in reference to, we've been really doing a big push in between he and I about representation for young people, younger audiences. We grew up in, watching cartoons, comics, entertainment, and there's a rule of three. It's unspoken. To a lot of people, they've never heard the rule of three, and it's very simply put, any entertainment, if it's more than three black individuals on screen, that is main cast or whatever, it's suddenly geared toward the black audience. That's the rule of three. And so we wanted to break that. We wanted to break that mentality to say, if you have a black cast, a main cast, that suddenly it means it's only for black people. And we've been pushing for, he has children's books that he's published, featuring a whole family, black characters, black family, and it's meant for all audiences. It's meant for anyone. The moral of the story is meant for anyone. You can digest it, whether you're black, white, whatever. And he had a person at work asked him, so
when you got there, about make, like, when are you gonna start making black books and just make books? And I was like, so what's a black book? Like, I don't see like a, you know, like a white section in the library or in Barnes and Noble, you know. So I don't choose to look at stuff like that. So, you know, it was, but you get that a lot. Like my first children's book, like people were like, oh man, you should make this guy a tiger. He's a tiger, and you know everybody will buy it. I'll make him, you know, look like I did when I was a kid. You know, make him look like my son did. You know, so that's a big part. Just to introduce myself, my name is Burnham. I'm a writer, children's book author, and the writer or co-writer, because Marcus still has a lot of feedback. He's not just the eye candy man. Like he actually conceptualizes and adds depth, and we're like, that's one of the things I think why we work so good together, because we're like little kids. Like when you lock us in a room and what if he did this? Oh, and we're jumping around and, you know, like driving and on the phone, like, yo, I just had an idea. So it really works, but yeah, that's what I do, is write stuff. Yeah.
So, how did you guys come to meet?
I was 2007 when I was looking for I got all this stuff in my bag that I should really have here.
I was just about to say, one day we're
I
gonna
want to kind of just dash out of here real quick, but I think I am. I'm going to finish this stuff. So I was looking for an illustrator. I had this comic book idea. So I moved here from Louisiana in like 1999, and I was doing music in Louisiana, and I came here, and it was like I got away from all my friends. I was like, I want to do nerd stuff again. You know, so I was like, I want to do this comic book. I've had this idea forever, and a mutual friend of ours introduced me. I was looking for illustrators, and then like, no, because I have this thing, and it's, I don't know if you guys can relate, but I have this issue where like black characters aren't always drawn correctly. You know, they're not always depicted correctly by an artist. And it's not even, it's like black artists that do it too. And so I learned, and I'm going to try to be short, but I learned that if you don't see yourself as beautiful, then you're not going to draw yourself beautiful, right? So I met this guy. He has all these amazing characters, and then, you know, I'm like, can you draw a black guy? And I'm sitting there like, oh, he can draw a black guy. Yeah, I want him, you know? And so that's how, you know, that's kind of how it went down.
This was printed at Kinko's at the time. This cost us, ready, $10 per book. All right, you know how much we were selling it for? $2.95. Okay,
That's a big profit, man.
Yeah. So this is in and itself. It was proof that we could come up with something. We finished the book. You know, we were proud of the product. We actually got it in a store, and little 5 points on with a consignment deal with the owner. He loved it. The thing was, we said to ourselves, we're not going to market it, we're not going to promote it. We just want to put it on the shelf and see if someone buys it. And people bought it. And the problem was, they kept buying it, and we had to keep printing it. And so, we came to a bottleneck. This came to a bottleneck. There is at least a good handful of people in Atlanta, Georgia, that have this book. We don't know where they are. We don't know where they are. And they were like, when's the next one coming out? We don't know. But we had to stop this because it was $50 to print 5. We was not rich at that time. And we're still, you know, so.
The guy, he took them on consignment. He was like, I'm going to just take like 6, and we'll see how long it takes for them to sell. I was like, cool. You know, we got some time to get a couple paychecks so we can, you know, be able to fund the next run. He called me like the next day, like 5 o'clock. He was like, dude, I need some more books. I'm like, no, but it was only a day. Like, we told no one. Like, we didn't, like, Facebook and all that wasn't really popping at that time, so we didn't even tell anybody. People just came in and saw it and liked it and bought it. So I was like, oh, cool. So I had to take my lunch money.
We did like an oversized banner of this. It was like hanging from the ceiling. And we were $100. We paid for it. We're like, no, we just want to. He was like, yeah, cool. We come in, I don't know, it was like a weekend, I don't remember when we put it up, and it's gone. And they're like, yo, where's the poster? Oh, I sold it.
I got some. We're like, no, we didn't want you to sell one.
Yeah, man, who bought this? So,
I mean, it literally, it was like about 8 feet tall.
yeah, it was big.
Amazing.
Someone bought it, we don't know who yet. So we had ideas like this. This was the one proof of concept where we actually came together, did something, published it, and it worked.
How do you see what you're doing affecting, Black children? We all want our art to be universal, but I know as a Black creator myself, one of the reasons I do what I do is because I'm trying to create images for children that I didn't have when I was growing up. And I think I see a strong element of that in your work as well. So
Yeah, definitely. Like, I have to go back to the young boy here. That's supposed to be kind of like me. Living in Idaho when I was like 6. Idaho, I said. And just like being able to go on the TV, and like I'm a huge fan of Star Wars. And, I kind of came to grips that Lando Calrissian was the only Black man in the universe. And I started piecing little things together. And for me, it was like sequential. Like I would start noticing like in horror movies, there was a Black guy, he's out there, first person to die. And you still see it today. And maybe I'm sensitive to it now. But, so I think it was a fire in me because, and I've probably said this before, but like I was always the star of my dreams. I was always the star when I wrote these terrible stories that I thought were good. It was me, but I couldn't see that anywhere else, And so that's where the fire comes, like not only, trying to, teach good stories and, hold them up. Like we have a cast here, 5 Black kids that are all from ages 13 to 18. They're gonna be flying planes. They're gonna be like masters in technology, their own forms of technology. They're gonna be, martial artists. Like they're super capable. They're gonna be funny. They're not gonna be stereotypical. It's the kind of thing where, if you pitch this, and we've tried, not with this, but we've pitched other things. They're always looking for, you to. I can't even say that word because I respect you guys, but it starts with N and it ends with 5. And we've actually had that. Y'all need to find this. Like these guys are too. It's too. It's too. The humor's dry. Where's the slapstick? Where's the? And so we're not gonna do that with this. It might be boring to some people. There's gonna be fighting and action and all that good stuff. But if you're looking for real housewives, children and stuff, this isn't it. There's dignity here. And that's what we try to do. So it's not just showing the Black characters. It's also showing them being capable, being honorable, and having dignity. And so that's like a huge force of everything we see.
I wouldn't say you guys are trying to do it. I say you're doing it. And you're doing it very well.
That's the goal. That's the goal. Looking through this book, this is Grandpa's Shoes. This is Greg's second book that we did. This is looking back in hindsight, and Greg designed it this way. I need to go back to the young girl. This is the young girl. The stories of a young girl who has a grandfather who basically is a bump on a log now, and she doesn't realize why he's, so complacent, doesn't do anything. But she finds an actual album in the basement with her mom, and she then goes through all of his, the chronicle of his life and all of his achievements. And this is, while it is a young girl character that's going through all of these things in history, this chronicles, the success of a young Black man from a young age on to when he's, old enough to, call himself financially successful. It shows all of the things that he's went through. None of them, are nothing to be ashamed of, and something to be proud of. And at the end of it all, she comes to say, okay, he deserves to be, sitting still, relaxing and all that stuff. But it's almost to say it's not blatant to say to a young man or a young Black child reading this to say, hey, this is a positive image of what a young Black person can do with their life. You don't have to do what other people have told you. You don't have to be.
What the media tells you, because
Yeah.
I always say, I coach basketball also, like AAU. I'm always talking to my kids and just letting them know, like, if everybody was like the rappers that you see or you hear on the radio, then our society would be like, I mean, we're kind of in a bad place, but society would be like all the way gone. You know, if you turn on the radio and you say that 90% of the black people in the world act like these people that you hear on the radio, that's gonna be a watch. We would all kind of cry right now, mumbling, not saying words. You know, so it's like, you know, because I used to get offended. I hate if I'm running off the subject, but I used to get offended when people would say with the Cosby Show, you know, that's not realistic. We actually did a comic strip about it one time, but we flipped it. It was like, because there's too many skin tones there. Like, and we did that because, you know, but you're used to hearing everybody say, that's not realistic. You can't have a doctor. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Right. And if we're not striving for, you know, for that, I mean, that's something to strive for. It might not be, you know, every day that you see it, but it's possible.
So basically what you guys are doing is that instead of, you're going against mainstream instead of creating a stereotypical black person, you're doing stuff about real black people.
Right.
That's what you're doing.
Yeah,
And
like these books are, I added some stuff in here to make it more robust, but these are based off of my life. I just made this a girl because my daughter was like, you need a girl. But this is like, true, like this actually happened to me, you know?
Yeah.
So this is my life. You know, I didn't, you know, I'm not gonna say they were the best, but it was the best life, but this is what my childhood was like.
I have a theory, and I want to see what you guys think about it. Because starting off, and whenever you're a black creator and you're concentrating on doing black work, you're always going to get that pushback saying, well, if you do black work, it's not going to sell, or certain people aren't going to buy it because it's just black people. But my theory is that quality work transcends all that. That a good book, that everybody will buy a good book.
Yeah, and
you tell a good story. Is that what you guys are seeing with your projects as well?
Definitely. Like that's one of the other things about Marcus and I is that like, we're humongous quality. Like quality is everything. So
that's not just with the art. I pride myself in not putting out something that, you know, I wouldn't look at myself. But it comes down to, like, the thing that gels us as creators is we get excited, genuinely excited. When we started talking about Tuskegee Heirs, I'm not joking, we were like, you know, jumping around. Like, oh my gosh, do you know what that's going to look like? You know, if it turns into,
my son, my 18-year-old son, he stopped playing video games because he heard what we and he comes in, and now he's sitting Indian style on the floor, and he's like adding, and we're like,
you know, technology, action adventure, things like that. It's just, it hasn't been done. And we looked around and we're like, there's no good, why this has not been done? There's talented artists in the industry. There's, you know, multiple numbers and statistics show that, you know, black culture as a whole loves science fiction, action adventure, martial arts, you name it. Technology, we're consumers of all those things. There's no such movie. There's no such comic. There's no such cartoon. There's a very real reason why those things don't exist. And it's because the industries that are in charge of it are not in a rush to cater to that audience. Now, you talk about, you know, comedy. You talk about, music, slave depictions. You know, any number. We have token characters all over the place.
Your perspective, what was your pitfalls and what was like smart move?
Right. I would focus on the do's because you get from the do's, it kind of negates the don'ts, which is you do research the business aspect of whatever you're trying to do. If you're going to try to do something to make money on it, find the entities or companies that are doing it the best, and then really, really dissect that, and then, you know, cater it to what you can achieve, like realistically. We knew comics from this, you know, from our first venture, we didn't know what we were doing. So working at Hero Cats, I was drawing the book full-time, things like that, and I was going to the conventions, but I was talking to industry artists, I was talking to publishers, I was talking to the people that printed the book. I was talking to the people that was printing posters, everything, T-shirts, you name it, stickers, and I learned.
Stealing information.
Yeah, I was undercover with it. I was just like, so wait now, how long have you been doing this? And I talked to everyone that said they did a Kickstarter. Every single person that said they succeeded with Kickstarter, I had a 10 to 15 plus minute conversation with them. Tell me how you started. What did you do before you did Kickstarter? And I took notes for over 3 years because I ran into multiple people at the convention. And I was, oh, I did it on Kickstarter. What is this Kickstarter? What? And this? How much? Oh my gosh, that's great. You know, so research. Find someone that's doing it better than you can ever dream to do it. And then if they're doing it at a level that costs millions, find a level, scale it back to what you can afford and what you can achieve based on whatever income you have. And then I got a saying now that it's everything that you ever want to do starts with information. It's a question, really. What do you want to do? You answer that question, and you put forth the information and passion, you know, to achieve that. That's the fundamental steps of anything any human on this planet wants to get done. It's question and answer, you know, information, and then passion, where you push it. So I would say those are the big do's. Find out what you want to do. You know, align yourself with someone who's doing it the best. Scale it down to what you can achieve, and then push with passion and purpose.
Are you looking to maintain complete control, or are you looking to market this to Marvel, or
I would say we're definitely, he said definitely complete control.
Well, I mean,
yeah, the only reason we've talked about that is we've talked to other people that have asked, you know, are you guys going to pitch this? Who are you going to, you know, who's going to, and we're like, we can do it. We can do it ourselves. And that's only after getting that information. So if we kickstarted, after we did the Kickstarter, actually during the Kickstarter, once we start getting to the higher numbers, 50,000, 60,000, publishers, you know, came out the woodwork. Like, hey, listen, we publish books. And we're like, well, that sounds nice. But due to my experience in the comic industry, I understand when that publisher, I won't get paid until you guys pay stuff back. So thanks to this money from Kickstarter, we can actually print the books ourselves, and we know how to go to a convention, print up some stuff, and go sit down at a table. And we've been vending and marketing. We did T-shirts with Stay Battling. I'm telling you.
They were good shirts.
Yeah, like we understand all this. I know how to talk at a table now. I know how to sell and market. I can call someone I don't know and say, hey, you look like all right, come here. You know, and sell something. So I was like, I know that's what you guys do as a publisher. We kind of don't need that right now, but I appreciate you. You know, in all honesty. So yeah, a lot of that stuff.
Control is big. Milestone Comics, right? DC ended up picking them up. So Icon and Milestone Comics, he's like Superman, right? DC got him. Barely see anything about Icon. They showed Static. They brought in Static. He had a show, and he's more popular. But Icon is the guy. Static would be like Robin or something compared to Superman. And so once you give up that control, and we've seen it, music in every medium, like you see it all the time. If you give that control up, then it's up to them now, and they can start telling the story the way they want. Now, I'm not saying that there will never come a day, because I can't predict that future, but our thing is we want to hold it as long as we can and make sure that the integrity stays.
Well, I think it's kind of like what you're doing. It's kind of like, we always talk about operating from a position of strength. When you go to a publisher and you're saying, do my work for me, he says, okay, I'll do it, but this is what you're going to have to do, and this is what you're going to get. But when you've already proven that you have success, then that changes the balance. Because now they have to tell you what they're going to do for you to get what you have.
And we had that, we literally, last weekend, there's guys trying to, hang out with us and take us out and hey, you guys really need to, let us publish the book. And they're, aggressive, and they're talking to us, and we've been young and stupid before, so it's cool, because now we're not, and so we're sitting here looking, but you're still talking to us the same way you would have talked to us, 15 years ago, but it's just all bouncing off. We're like, man, we're going to go get some of that legal seafood. We're smiling in his face, yeah, but I want so.
Thank you big time.
Right. Good talk, man. I hope to see you again somewhere. So, you know.
As much, but I foresee that once we get to animation, movies and things like that, we're not gonna say no to Lucas if him and his wife, you know, sit down with us. We're gonna say, listen, Lucas, yes, you can have, how much? All right, listen, not all of it. Some of it. Some of it. Let's keep a bit. You're already rich, man. So we're gonna definitely form alliances with the people that are genuinely passionate about getting this message. This Tuskegee needs to be an education. That's at the foundation of our conversation. I'm like, if this doesn't get into schools, we have failed. Because everything, STEAM is the big push that a lot of schools in America are using. It's science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, I believe. So all of this is in this project. And we've talked to educators, and we can definitely get a curriculum going. The history part is not a buck at what's in the current books. It's just teachers can use this. We want it to. The way I see it, they can use it in school, in class, and say, guys, did you guys know that? No? Pull up Google and say, look, they're right. Yeah, this is real. This happened to this Easter Island. This is, Olmec heads. Things I in high school I don't ever remember seeing that in my books. So, but all these things are there. So we want that in school.
Now, from that standpoint, so I'm just a huge fan of people being able to tell their own stories. And if you want to tell me that you're 20 feet tall and you're virtuous, that's cool. That's your story. I want you to tell that story. Like we shouldn't be dependent on other people to tell our stories. And if we wait for them to do it, we never know if it's going to be right.
Come on.